Greetings, everyone. This is Michael Washington. I'm here on this August the 19th, 2021. I want to talk to you today about the McGirt decision. Last year, the Supreme Court ruled that a vast majority of the Eastern District of the United States, here, especially in Oklahoma, still belong to the Native Americans. And therefore, a lot of convictions, even tens of thousands, actually at least several thousand, were ordered to be retried on tribal lands. So what that did is that it vacated various conditional sentencings that were carried out by the state of Oklahoma, because the Supreme Court ruled last year that the state had no jurisdiction to try people with native blood in them in state courts, because the jurisdictions did not belong to the state, but rather to Native Americans. Consequently, thousands of Native Americans have had their cases retried in tribal courts. Now, a lot of people don't realize as well that this past Thursday, on the 12th of August, the Oklahoma Criminal Court of Appeals ruled 4-0 that the McGirt decision would not be retroactive to reach those prisoners who were sentenced prior to the McGirt decision coming out. Well, let me tell y'all, it sounds like it's time for those of you who were convicted in the state courts on lands that remained tribal in nature. The Criminal Court of Appeals has no authority to discriminate against you, whether you have Native American blood or not. Because even in and of itself, the Constitution of the United States forbids discriminatory practices, ex post facto violations, and denial of due process and equal protection laws, where it's supposed to affect every individual, not some individuals, when we fall up under the same jurisdictional courts, the same legal systems, legal jargons, and so forth and so on. You can't say, well, this is going to affect you, but not Harry, Tom, or Joe. That's simply not how the law works. Now, what the court is trying to do is to prevent from having to go back over the years and give up jurisdiction for the people they have wrongfully incarcerated, despite the fact maybe that person may be actually guilty of having committed a prior crime or not. If you don't have jurisdiction to try that person, then that person, I'm sorry, even in the cases of murder, has to be let loose, because the law dictates and the precepts under constitutional measure says that it must be done that way. Now, a lot of people, I heard them say, well, the tribes have themselves agreed in large part to the Oklahoma Criminal Court of Appeals ruling, stating that the decision would not reach those people who were previously convicted under the law. Well, it just so happened, Criminal Court of Appeals, that McGirt himself was convicted, tried and convicted, and himself claimed that you had no jurisdiction to even try him because he was still on Native American lands. Now, how are you going to select him out, and maybe the recent cases like his, and say the rest before that time should not apply? It is an unconstitutional setting. It is an ex post facto setting. It is an unconstitutional setting where inmates who are currently jailed, based upon the non-jurisdictional right of the Oklahoma courts to sentence them because they had no power or authority in which to do so. Now, what this does is it violates every common sense notion that we, the people, by the people, for the people, is of importance to us. What this means to me, everybody who's listening and who don't know what you may need to do, let Michael Washington tell you what you need to do. You need to file a federal habeas corpus in the United States District Court for whatever district you live in. Now, if you live in Oklahoma City and surrounding areas, that would be the Western District of Oklahoma. If you live around Tulsa, Wynnewood, or places like that, then your case would be filed in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Oklahoma. Then you have cases in the Southern District. I can't name them all. You'll have to research it on your own. But my point is, some say, well, maybe I should have to go file a post-conviction relief. You just heard the 4-0 decision by the Criminal Court of Appeals. It would be a waste of time then to go on a habeas corpus, an application for post-conviction relief, because you know that you're not going to get relief in the state courts. The federal courts would have jurisdiction when there's a federal question. The federal question comes when you, as a citizen, claim that someone who, under active authority of state law, practice, and procedures, violated your constitutional rights regarding you, first, all the way up to the 14th Amendment regarding criminal convictions and incarceration. So I'm saying then that if you say, for example, that you have been subjected to cruel and unusual punishment since your wrongful conviction, and that it's a violation of your 8th Amendment right, if you're saying that you are being violated your due process rights under the 14th Amendment, your equal protection right under the 14th Amendment, your First Amendment right under the First Amendment, then the jurisdiction would supersede the jurisdiction of the state courts, no matter how they interpreted it or have embraced the practice of whatever you said violated your rights on, because the federal law controls state law. No person should be deprived of life, liberty without due process of law. That's under the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Oklahoma Constitution also mirrors and reflects that same constitutional measure. Now, let Michael Washington give you a little bit more mustard that you can put on your hamburger. You also have the right to claim, legitimately so, since you are not rightfully incarcerated, that your right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment, false imprisonment, threat on your life, violation of your right to be sentenced in a constitutional manner, so forth and so on. These are the areas that I would think that you would need to present a federal question in the federal court. Now, the United States District Courts, for the most part, they are charged with protecting your civil rights, your federal rights, when they're being violated by the sovereign states within its jurisdiction. So you may have to appeal maybe a federal denial all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, which in and of itself, I really have no faith in neither one of the courts, because it's a big old money laundering practice that's going on, because no matter whether you win or lose, somebody has to pay the piper. So I'm saying to all of you, do not accept the fact that the Oklahoma Criminal Court of Appeals ruled 4-0 that you do not have a right to benefit from the McGirt decision. I've seen many cases where the Criminal Court of Appeals have been reversed and remanded by a federal court, as well as even the United States Supreme Court, who is the law of the land. You need to allow the United States Supreme Court to tell you that you have none coming. Maybe some of you can't afford to hire an attorney to fight your battle. Some of you may have to go pro se. Some of you may not be able to get in at all because of your financial status. And that's a tough reality, but it's one that I really myself cannot do anything about. However, I can do what I am now, trying to steer you in the right direction in which to proceed to trying to get justice where you have been denied. I had promised that I was going to get back to you today, and here I am. Actually, it was a couple of months ago, but then again, I got a little bit distracted with a lot of other cases, including the Oklahoma County Jail, and also dealing with prison issues of inmates' civil rights being violated. Well, y'all, I'm not going to hold you much longer here, but I just thought I would give you a little bit of something to consider, and hopefully that you will use it to your best benefit and not let these people have the last word, because if you do, that's where you lose. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed. And let me say again, I thank Miss Burkhardt for asking me to recite my prayer. May God bless you. May he allow his face to shine upon you and give you peace. I had to say that, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Thank y'all so much. Have a great day.